Good afternoon and welcome to the December 8th, 2022 meeting of the Rotary Club of Orlando. I'd like to take a minute to give a special welcome to all of our visiting Rotarians and guests today. Please know that you're most welcome to join us at our meeting. We really appreciate you being here. And with that, I would like to start out with an invocation from past President Dr. Byron Thanes.
Will you please join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, as we gather here today in this great land of our heritage, let us share our blessings and talents with others by our willingness to serve and strive for unity as we assemble here as Rotarians, sharing trust, fellowship, and ethics, and placing service above self in our daily lives. Help us, Lord, to serve our community. Bless now this food, those who prepared it, all who are attending, and their families. Amen.
All right, thank you, Dr. Thanes. Now, our patriotic music with Harry Voorhees.
Thanks, sir. Let's sing God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Harry.
We got to sing the welcome song.
Okay, thank you. All right, now to introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests, past President Mary Ann Dean.
I'd like to again welcome all of you who are visiting with us, and today we only have two visitors. The first, Maria Zondervan, and I think Maria is going to be getting to be a member pretty soon. Is that right? And she's a guest of Candace. And John Glantz, guest of Denny Career. Welcome back. Glad to have you here. And did I miss anyone? These are the only two that I had written down. Wonderful. And how do we welcome our guest?
Hello, stranger, gather round. Welcome to our friendly town. Don't feel lonesome, let's shake hands. You're among Rotarians. Sit down.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the favorite things that we can do as a president of this club is to welcome new members into the club, and because it means our club is growing. And we have a new member classification talk today, so please help me welcome our new member, Bennett Sebastian.
Good afternoon. My name is Bennett Sebastian, and I'm the owner of Envision Development here in Orlando. We're a real estate and construction company. Some background on me: I originally from India, came here to the United States in the mid-'70s with my family. We moved on from the city of brotherly love to the city beautiful in the mid-'80s. I went on to attend Dr. Phillips High School, but unfortunately, I wasn't a very disciplined or focused student back then. So I graduated with a whopping 2.0 GPA and was basically directionless after high school. So after considering all my options, I decided to join the Army and spent the next few years in the Army as a combat engineer, getting exposed to construction. Really, the Army kind of gave me that discipline and focus that I lacked before going in. After my discharge, I decided to pursue a career in construction, and with the help of the GI Bill, I came back to Orlando and attended Valencia Community College, and then transferred to UF after I got my AAA. Went into the School of Building Construction there, and after graduation, I spent the next several years working in the healthcare construction industry, working with hospital builders and actually working for a hospital as a construction manager. After about 5 years of working in construction and paying back all my student loans, I decided it was time to go back into debt. So I went back to UF and pursued my MBA. Unfortunately, this was right after the dot-com collapse in 9/11. So the job prospects for newly minted MBAs was not very promising. So I wanted to get into real estate, so I went and got my real estate license, which took about a week and $200 versus a 2-year MBA program, and went on to do that for the next 10 years or so before shifting my focus back to investment and development. Over the last year or so, I've been assembling commercial parcels for development, and currently I'm under contract with a medical group to deliver a medical office building for them next year, and our incoming president, Chris Whitney, is the project architect on the job, and I met him after joining the Rotary Club, so hopefully get to do business with some of the other folks here. Why Rotary? I joined about 6 months ago, and the reason was I wanted to expand my social and business network and also give back to the community. My father was an active Rotarian for 20 years after he retired from Disney and encouraged me to join as well. I've had a few opportunities to volunteer with Rotary, and I've really enjoyed that, and I look forward to doing more. I've enjoyed getting to know some of you here, and I've really enjoyed the great guest speakers that we've had come to these meetings. Lastly, on a personal level, I have 2 daughters, Annika, who's 11, and Ariana, who's 13. They're both tennis players like their mom, who actually played for UF. And then hobbies, when I'm not working, I enjoy playing golf, reading, watching football, college football, playing poker, and riding my motorcycle. So if anybody else here rides, hook me up, and let's go for a ride. Thank you.
Thank you, Bennett. We appreciate that. Now, that was actually Bennett's final requirement to turn his red badge into a blue badge. So now that, don't get too comfortable, Bennett, I'm going to ask you to come right back up here again. So I'd like to have Bennett and Peter Correa to come up here, please. And congratulations on that. Your red badge is now a blue badge, and you have that. And Peter, congratulations to you. Thank you very much. Give him a hand. All right. Thanks very much for that. So I put out a little message on the Wednesday edition about congratulations to the Rotary Club of Orlando, and I feel like all of us should really take some pride in what we've accomplished this holiday season on 2 major projects. First of all, the bell ringing. And I'd like to give a special thanks to Bill Pieper and to Jason Frazier, who really spearheaded the bell ringing, and we filled all of the slots. And Ken, do you know how well we did on our collection? 500 and 600 a day. So hey, I think we ought to give ourselves a hand for that one, right? And of course, the second project that we tackled on was the Angel Tree. 72 underprivileged children are going to get gifts from this club. And I think that's quite an accomplishment. So today was the day to bring your Angel Tree gifts in. A lot of people did. If by any chance you forgot to bring your gift in and you've signed up for a student and haven't brought in the gift, please get with Sarah Carlson. Sarah is going to be delivering the gifts next Wednesday. And I asked Sarah, would you stand up for us, please? You don't have to come all the way up to the podium, but I want to give Sarah a hand for that. And Joe and Sarah are not here today, are they? Oh, Joe, my gosh, you snuck in without me seeing. Joe, stand up too. So Joe and Tara did a great job on that too. Didn't mean to exclude you. Yeah, let's get, Tammy, can we get an email out to the club and just so, as far as the time and the date? Once we get that time nailed down, we'll send it out to the club, so that we can, if anybody wants to be there. And anybody who is there, please get your iPhone videos out, get photos and videos, because we really like to have a presentation to the club. We've done it in the past, and it's really something to see these kids getting their gifts. It's a heartwarming thing to see. So we'd like to get a video of that and show it to the whole club, so that you know what you've done. Okay, also the food drive. John Stein is heading up our food drive. We still have one more. Sorry, John. Okay. Next week is the food drive, so remember, bring in your non-perishables for that, and that's for the Washington Shores School. Our raffle is going strong. Denny Career has been collecting a lot of money for that. We're building it.
Just so everybody knows what we're doing here is trying to raise money for the club. The way we're doing is by doing a raffle. Now, the Las Vegas Club is doing this. There are over $3,000 for prize winner. We're getting a lot more money from the club for doing this. We do the raffle today, the prize is going to be $195. Obviously, half that we win. But the rest, so if something doesn't make it to the space, each week, open that we get. That's over $4,000 $2,000. Maybe we can get to the point, it's a lot of money for the club, and it's still tax deductible, but we think that we, so please, if we cover them up, buy the tickets, help the club, certainly doesn't hurt you, you have a chance to.
For those of you on the Zoom call, I know you couldn't hear Denny, but he just said what a success the raffle has been so far in collecting for the club. So thanks a lot, Denny, for spearheading that up. Okay, now it's time for our happy dollars, and Bob Phipps is going to handle those duties. Bob, you need a microphone, Bob, and a basket.
I'll live. All right, Happy Dollars is for today what?
Happy dollars, Tammy, help me out. Happy dollars is for?
Foundation.
Thank you, the foundation.
These happy dollars are in gratitude to our secretary, Tammy Wacker, and my daughter, Mary White. They went out and shopped and purchased and wrapped 21 angel tree gifts. So that was really impressive. And the thing, they used to shop at Target. Because of inflation, this year they had to go to Five Below.
All right. I'll get over to you in a second.
Bob, I've got a happy dollar for Captain Ken Chapman. I was watching TV the other night, and Chapman got on there with this gal that looked like a tackle from the University of Georgia, and he hugged her, and then he kissed her. I said, wait a minute, he can't do that. He's an officer of the Salvation Army. She gave him a check for $250,000. Let's hear it for him. So I said, he got to be a Phi Beta Kappa. He can't be just a bachelor. So I looked up his record, and it said he graduated from high school, the bottom of his class, and he applied to the University of Georgia. Well, they were hurting for students, and especially in the band. So he had to take a one-question history exam to get in the University of Georgia. So he went before the president, and he says, all right, Mr. Chatton, you get in if you pass this question. What is the capital of Georgia? Ken scratched his head. He started sweating. He says, I know, Marietta. And the president of the University of Georgia says, congratulations, Ken, you're a bulldog. He later said, I'm not sure if Marietta was right. He said, well, here's the way we figured it. Marietta is 30 miles from Atlanta, 30 from 100 is 70, and 70's passing. Georgia Bulldog.
Okay. True story, right?
How do you follow that? I have a happy dollar. I just want to say, I know she's not here, but Candace is the one who introduced me to Rotary. And I just want to say to her, wherever she is, thank you so much, because I get to become a member today.
That's right.
I put in $2 because he shamed me.
All right.
Okay, I'm putting in $5, okay, because this season we're celebrating the birth of our Savior Jesus Christ. And in the Word, it says, nothing good ever came out of Nazareth. Well, Tommy Tart is illustrating that scripture today. He brought, with his own money, he bought 3 big boxes of toys for us to take to underprivileged children for next week. So something good came out of the University of Florida.
And Ken, I want to thank you. I was looking up recycling, and I didn't realize Salvation Army had such a big hit in recycling. When they were started, like, 1865 in London, they used to send these workers out to find stuff to reuse. And y'all were like amongst the first of the organized recycling. Good job. Thank you.
I would kiss Tommy Tart for $250,000.
You would have thought it was worth more than a kiss.
I have 5 happy dollars, and it's for the Salvation Army. Here's why. I was watching Newsmax earlier in the week, and they came out with the top 5 organizations in America to feel very comfortable about donating to for Christmas. Number 1, Salvation Army.
Absolutely.
No question about that. No question about that. Oh, sorry. I got to get Denny. Just find where Denny is.
This is the best club in the world. Look at this. This is what John Taggart brought in for the kids. That entire wagon full of gifts and all that. And tomorrow night we have our zone meeting that we do on a monthly basis, and I get to brag about our club, and that's a wonderful thing about it.
It does make everyone here should feel proud. Yes, Doc.
It's great to be here with my fellow Rotarians. At 92, it's great to be anywhere.
All right. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, 10 years later, what the Salvation Army did in America, they were over in London when they started, apparently New York was getting rid of 75% of its trash by dumping it in the ocean. So they got with the Salvation Army, they came over to New York City, and I guess they stopped that.
Okay. For all those who rang the bell and are ringing the bell for the Salvation Army.
There you go.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just $1, but Bob, I sat with him. I said, Bob, it's the end of the year. I want you to save me some money. Let's write off some money and buy something. So we save it from Uncle Sam. So come on, Bob.
What was that? I missed all that. That was kind of like last week. No one understood a single word.
If you need a tax guy, Bob's your man. So my business, I said, Bob, save me some money before the end of the year. Let's go.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, do business here at Rotary. You're usually not charged for it, so that's a good thing too. All right, who else? Who else? Yeah, usually. Well, it all depends.
Here's 20 happy dollars for Salvation Army.
Oh,
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's 5 happy dollars for Ohio State to recover from our loss to Michigan by giving it to Georgia.
There you go. All right, in 1907 came probably the worst thing for recycling. What was 1907 known for? Guy named Bakeland. Anybody know? The first synthetic plastic called Bakelite was created.
I'm just grateful that I'm no longer in the danger zone and I'm blue now.
That's right.
The Wild Horse Tales book presentations, the first series is ended, and I'm putting in $2 for the last 2 people that did them, and that would be Mary Ann Dean and Eddie Clark. Thank you. But thank everybody that has helped with the Wild Horse Tales. We got a set coming after the new year, though.
I also want to thank Mary Ann Dean for she put together a show where we went to Saw Theater, the Playhouse. That was incredible. Y'all ought to do that. There's another couple of them coming up. There's a 60s London type musical Playhouse going on. that I guess hopefully we can go to also again. That'll be like in March, but it was incredible doing stuff with your Rotarians.
Yeah.
Anyone else I missed? All right, thank you very much.
All right, thanks very much, Bob, appreciate you. Okay, and I'd like to ask John Stein to come up here and talk about our upcoming golf tournament, right, John? Okay.
Thank you, President Dave. Your golf committee tournament has been working since July. And that would be, and I'm going to try to go from memory, George Mills, Brett Lovett, Richard Harris, Rick Navarro, David Joyce, Zach, and Rhoda. And Rhoda's the person that has been driving this thing. It wouldn't be there if it weren't for her. So here's our flyer. Swings for Charity will be May the 8th at the Palm Course at Disney. We're looking for a lot of people there. 72 golfers. But in addition to that, we have a whole bunch of donors that we don't have yet. We've got anywhere from $7,500 down to $100 of different levels of donation. And in addition, we're going to be having a live and a auction. I need your help. I need everybody to think if you have somebody in your reference, in your frame of reference, that could participate as a donor. Maybe for $100 for the cart or $500 for a hole. But every one of us knows somebody in a restaurant, in a bank, in a business. I need your help to send that name to Rhoda Carter. Rhoda is going to compile that list. And then from that list, we're going to go and out to those people. But there again, I need your help again. We need an individual who would chair up the donations of the donor committee, as well as another volunteer who would head up the auction committee. Please think hard. We're a service club. We do a lot, but we need to be able to, we're going to try to raise $50,000 for the Second Harvest Food Bank. We can only do it if we have the help from all of the clubs. So look and see what you can do for donors. And I need a person to head up the donors committee and the auction items committee. Please send it to Rhoda or see me about it. Thank you, and I'll look forward to working with you. And these, did you pass these out, Zach? Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it, Dave. Good.
All right. Thank you, John. We really appreciate you and all you do for this club. I don't know how John gets his energy, but he does more for this club than just about anybody. Okay, at this time, I'd like to have Bill Pieper come up and introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, David. Jennifer Fowler is our speaker today. She's with Orange County Public Schools. She's been there since 2008, and she's in charge of environmental compliance and sustainability. I asked her what to define sustainability, and she's going to do that so we can really understand what it is this time. She has over 20 years experience in environmental and industrial hygiene. She has a Master's of Science degree in public health, specializing in industrial hygiene from the University of Central Florida. Please welcome Jennifer Fowler.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You can talk if you want.
That's it. Thank you very much for the introduction. And let me just start by saying thank you for the invitation to speak today. I'm very excited to talk about our sustainability program with Orange County Public Schools. And I'm I'm going to focus today on our Sustainability Plan 2030, kind of do a little bit of a dive of what that 2030 plan looks like, some of the initiatives that we already have in place and what we're doing, and then talk about our Green Schools program, which is our school-based initiative for creating cultures of sustainability. So, as Bill said, what is sustainability? The United Nations defines sustainability as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. How are we leaving today better for our kids tomorrow? And that's really what it's about. And how does that fit with OCPS? Well, it aligns just perfectly, right? Because we're educating our kids and we're creating leaders for tomorrow. What does it look like? Well, this is the class of 2030. These are the kids who will graduate in 2030 who are going to be impacted by what we do today. And this is our Audubon Park School K-8 class of 2030. And this is part of the SDGs, part of their curriculum of integrating sustainability today into what they're doing. So why did we pick 2030? Well, we wanted to align ourselves with our community and what is happening out there. So we worked with the City of Orlando, we worked with Apopka, the City of Winter Garden, Valencia College, University of Central Florida. We looked at Broward County, we looked at the city, the Orange County government. We worked with our partners of what are their goals for 2030. So how do we align, because we are in those communities also. So then we also looked at how do we not just align with the local that I mentioned, but how do we align nationally, and using the USGBC, the Center for Green Schools, and their framework model, along with the international, as I mentioned, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And then internally, right, how do we align with the OCPS mission and goals? So how do we write a 2030 plan? We can't write it in a silo. My department isn't going to write a plan that affects all the students. How do we create a culture of sustainability? So we created an advisory council, and that included surveys of over 47,000 people. We had 12 departments. We went on what we call a listening tour, talking to all of our internal departments to say, what do you understand about sustainability? What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Talking to our schools who are part of our Green Schools Network, talking to our internal and external stakeholder councils. So we had council members from community advisory councils, we had internal faculty advisory, interdepartmental, we did surveys of our families, and then we had students. We have high school students who are part of a student sustainability advisory council. We wanted our students to have a voice in what this 2030 plan looks like. And this is it. We identified 5 plan targets that we'll be focusing on. Waste reduction, water conservation, health and wellness, energy conservation and renewable energy, and transportation. And transportation really is a bigger section, which we're not just focused on renewable sources, but also how we transport our kids, being efficient in the work that we do. So I'm going to kind of go through a little bit about each one of these targets and talk about what those look like within that plan, and then tell you a little bit about some of the goals and accomplishments that we've already had to date. One thing specifically, that every one of our sustainability targets has an educational component. Everything goes down to our schools and has an awareness piece, because that is what it is about creating a culture. So diverting our total waste stream from the landfill, increasing increasing waste reduction with our educational awareness, and decreasing food waste by increasing our total waste of composted and donated foods through our share tables, through our local community donations. So what have some of the things we've done? Well, last school year, and what we call fiscal year 2022 or school year 2022, we recycled over 21 million pounds from the landfill. That is avoiding over 30,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide from entering the atmosphere, and an annual equivalent to an annual greenhouse gas emissions from over 6,000 passenger vehicles, or 75 million miles driven per year by a passenger vehicle. That's the impact of what we've accomplished to date. Water conservation, decreasing our indoor consumption of water, right? How we're building our schools, how are we using the components in the construction of our schools, that educational awareness, and decreasing our irrigation usage. An example of one of the things that my team does on my sustainability department is with having overseeing our utility usage, overseeing our utility bills. Besides our pay, utilities is the largest cost to the school district. So being as efficient as possible is important. For example, our University High School, we identified that we had a water bill for over $100,000. We obviously had a water leak. Working with our utility provider, we were able to get an adjustment and recover $80,000. That was one school and one bill. So making sure that we're being as efficient as we possibly can is crucial to saving and keeping those dollars back in those classrooms. Health and wellness. Increasing our climate healthy plant-based dining options working with our food and nutrition services department, increasing our outdoor instruction time, having school gardens, incorporating curriculum integration and with our schools and our gardens, showing how those work together. Energy conservation, looking at our energy use intensity to decrease, identifying our carbon emissions, setting goals for reducing our greenhouse gas emissions, increasing our energy conservation and renewable energy awareness, along with increasing our use of renewable energy. OCPS has subscribed to the Duke Energy Community Solar Program. We have a consumption of approximately 293 million kilowatts we use in a year. Our subscription is over 80,000 kilowatts, which is approximately 200 million kilowatt hours. By that subscription, that has a 7-year payback. And within 7 years, we'll have 100% of 112 schools will be from a renewable energy source in our school district. Our Orange Technical College, our West Side campus, will also be our very first rooftop solar school that is being built and is in planning and design at this time. And transportation, increasing the number of electric school buses, our hybrid vehicles, the use of looking at EV chargers, decreasing our idle time, right? Our buses are sitting empty. We don't want them just to be running with nobody in them. Decreasing our transportation fuel, and again, that educational component and having sustainable transportation lessons in our classrooms. OCPS has been awarded by the EPA a grant to purchase our first 6 electric vehicles, which we will be rolling out in January. That came from the VW settlement with the FDEP, our local Florida Department of Environmental Protection. And so we will be piloting the first 6 electric vehicles for the school district this coming second half of the school year. Let me talk a little bit about our Green Schools program. So the Green Schools program is the school-based initiative. This is the celebration for our schools to really talk about the culture of sustainability, and it's an incentivized program. So after those applications come in at the end of this school year, next fall, we'll have an awards ceremony where first place will receive $5,000, second place is $3,000, and third place is $1,000. And then they also have the opportunity for incentive awards through energy conservation efforts they had, water conservation, along with our community partners who have donated for $750 community partner awards. And those applications come in, our community partners are those that judge these applications. Our OCPS internal staff has nothing to do with who's the winner. It really is our community looking at what our schools are doing for creating a culture. And this is the rubric of what our schools are looking at and putting towards a culture of sustainability with school grounds enhancements, sustainability. That's the conservation of the energy, increasing recycling, health and well-being, our gardens, our physical fitness of our students, curriculum integration, then the community involvement, right? So we really want our students to be active in our community. And it's amazing the work from our eco clubs and our high schools to our students doing donations or doing food drives for their community. All of that is part of that sustainability and moving forward. Along with school-wide culture, right? This is really where we've seen professional development. We've identified procedures. The school has really integrated sustainability throughout their school, and it's evident from that K through 12th grade. So Arbor Ridge K-8 was our first place winner this past school year. They were announced in October, and this is just an example where students will learn with hands-on outdoor activities that dive into renewable energy. They also have a hydroponics garden that they're growing, that the students are using as part of curriculum integration. We have schools that use mathematics and science for hydroponics and culminating those together to learn and real life scenarios. And then Millennia Gardens was our previous year, and this is where they had curriculum integration. This is part of their application. Millennia Gardens also was the only school in the state of Florida who was identified as a U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon School. And they went to Washington, D.C. and was recognized this past summer for their school-wide culture of sustainability. And that is the U.S. Department of Education. OCPS was identified in 2016 as a school district green ribbon school, where we also were recognized by the U.S. Department of Education in D.C. And with that, I probably went fairly fast. But thank you. I'm happy to take questions. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering, it's great that you're doing the solar and all that kind of stuff to offset your emissions, but are you also working on getting any of your buildings LEED certified, or is that part of anything new that's being built?
So there is actually a Florida statute that requires that every school build to a green standard. So we typically are not using LEED, but we use green globes. Is where that typically falls under. We have Zellwood Elementary School is, I think, our only LEED school, but every school is built to a green standard, and that's actually in a Florida statute.
You have a number of older schools. What are you doing to retrofit them as you modify their structure to make sure they are eligible to become green schools?
So every school can be a green school, and so we have a very robust construction program where we look at, and that's our facilities division, where we are doing either comprehensive in that where we may be replacing mechanical systems as part of that if they're not coming up for a total rebuild. We have schools where we do total rebuilds. I would say since 2015 to today, we've grown by about 13%. We opened 5 schools just this school year. And some of that we also rebuild existing locations.
Obviously we use new technology for using solar in that because we can measure how long it takes to get the money back. Is there any department within the county school system that looks at the average cost for utilities from older buildings versus the utilities for newer buildings, decide this is when we need to replace them?
So that data is used. That energy program falls within my department, and our construction program does look at that data. That's part of also, we look at that energy use intensity, the EUI, but we also use that data to do inspections and assessments right? So why is a school using more energy than another school? We can look at year built, we can look at mechanical system replacements, and then we can look at how many students there are, what is the utilization, do they have after school programs, do they have churches on Sundays, how much is our campus being used? So all of that goes into looking at the data and then using that for further assessment. So are our chillers turning on when they shouldn't be when the school is completely empty on a weekend? Maybe there's something on the controls side that isn't, functioning properly. So we're actually using that also to identify where mechanical issues may need to be addressed. And then that goes to our facilities maintenance team, who also further can dive into mechanical corrections.
Hi there. What is being said to the children as to why we are recycling? Because I'm seeing reports that there are children in the country that are having nightmares because of the way it's being presented to them, is that it's Armageddon, the earth is going to be on fire, so on and so forth. So how is it being presented to them as to why we are doing these things?
So my team goes out and we provide education and information, and we really focus a lot on our custodial teams. But a lot of our schools also identify students who are part of the program. And it's really, it's not presented as an Armageddon. It really is how to do better, how to, what does this mean? What are we doing? What does recycling mean? Well, we're taking those materials. What happens to those materials, right? Those materials are then taken and turned into a new product, and teaching them why recycling is important and what happens with the life cycle of those recycled materials, right? It's not about, oh, if you don't recycle, right? What does it mean? Why are we doing it? Well, we're doing that to take those materials from the landfill and actually be able to reuse them, because it's a commodity. Actually able to take those materials are then sold and used to repurpose to make new, new materials.
You mentioned something about one of your slides, 100% of 112 schools will be energy efficient, or I'm not sure what the slide exactly said, but comment on that if you would. And also, in all these areas that you're trying to do all this work, what about funding? How does that work for you, and budgets and all that?
So with the community solar, so Duke Energy, OUC also has a similar program. FPL has a similar program. With Duke, where we were able to subscribe through, they have created those community solar farms. So those are the ones with OUC are you see out by the Stanton Energy plant, out on Innovation Way. If you've driven by there, those are the big solar farms that are there. And those solar farms are then feeding energy to the grid. So what that means is rather than us actually having, installing and maintaining those rooftop solars on our buildings, this was a way for us to have a subscription, a return on investment through getting money back. So we'd have a 7-year return on investment, which is less than typically what solar is. It's usually 10 to 12 years. And that would then allow us to then continue to have rebates coming in, and that energy that is coming from those solar to the electric grid is being identified as being for OCPS.
Any other questions? Before we close, Jennifer, I had the pleasure of speaking with you before the program began, and we were talking about transportation alternatives, alternative energies, et cetera. Would you go into that a little bit more and explain the cost factors?
Right, so one of the important pieces for us is, right, I always say sustainability, you have to be sustainable to have sustainability, right? We don't want to invest in something just to say we are sustainable, right? It has to be efficient, it has to work for OCPS. The reason we went for the grants with the EPA and FDP through the Volkswagen mitigation was because the cost, so a regular bus, school bus, is typically around $150,000. Electric buses are around $350,000, and that doesn't include building infrastructure for that. So that grant has allowed us to then pull in and work and have electric buses, pilot those buses to see, what is the true mileage you get? The mileage range. You have to, be able to charge those buses between routes. And how do we route our buses to be very efficient? So making sure we are using those buses efficiently, they're getting what they're supposed to do before we look to expand. There's additional funding. There's a lot of funding coming down right now through the bipartisan infrastructure law. There's a lot of opportunities. And so we're looking at those also for further grant opportunities. To continue to look at how we can fund and proceed and move OCPS sustainability forward.
And we thought education was reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? A lot more to. Jennifer, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your
Thank you
presentation.
very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hold it back from the bottom though.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. That's much appreciated.
Thanks again for a great talk. All right, now Denny, time for the exciting part of the meeting. Who is going to be the new winner?
We've got $195 in the pot, so the winner's going to get $97.50 if he chooses the queen of spades.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's going to roll over.
And the winner, 039832. 832. Checking your own card.
Unbelievable, it's me.
All right.
Well, you better shuffle these.
Hey, we're not this. Nobody's going to think this is rigged if you win this.
Not at all.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, take this one here. Missed by a bunch, 3 of spades.
All right.
Okay, rolls over, 195 plus whatever we bring in next week.
And you get your ticket money back.
I do.
All right.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Denny. Here you want? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Make sure you show up for next week's meeting. It's going to be our annual Christmas meeting. We're having the children's choir from Lake Eola Charter School, and they have done our meeting for us in the past. It's a real great meeting to see. A lot of nice Christmas music and very relaxing, entertaining as well. So thank you very much, Jennifer, for your insights on the program. It was wonderful. And remember, we're a business club. Do business with Rotarians. Always be safe, be well, be involved, and be a Rotarian. And now please join me in the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all? Our meeting is adjourned.